So, hello and welcome along to another episode of In Conservation With. My name is David Lindo. I am also known as the Urban Birder. And today I have a very special guest. I'm really excited. A very good friend of mine, Jim Moir. Um, but
Hello.
what I'm going to do before we actually talk to Jim, I just want to quickly say that In Conservation With is brought to you by Cower Sporting Optics, the manufacturer of the world's renowned Promenade series of spotting scopes, and also Birds, Wildlife and Nature, the tour company that strives to deliver the best birding and wildlife opportunities throughout the world. So thank you very much, guys, for supporting us. And I'm, as I said, pretty excited because Jim is someone that I've really been dying to get on In Conservation With. And Jim, how are you and where are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And I'm in my dining room with some very dramatic lighting. I've collected all the lamps from the house and put them in front of me. I don't think I get a job as a lighting director, put it that way, but I'm doing my best. If I look like Dracula, that's because of the lighting I've arranged.
Well, I think the stairway behind you in that piece of art makes you look like you are in Dracula's den in Bavaria, or wherever he was.
That's a magpie.
Oh, is it?
Uh, that's a painting of a magpie done by Damien Hirst.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, listen, for those who don't know about Jim, Jim Moir, he's widely celebrated for his irreverent wits. You might see some of that today. His glorious eccentricity. I can't pronounce. Oh,
Eccentricity.
yeah,
Eccentricism.
I've been having problems with my language recently, my diction. I just can't speak properly these days.
So what is it you're trying to say, David?
What you just said, eccentricity.
Esotericness.
Anyway, and your tremendous creativity. You attended Sir John Cass Art School in London, and at the age of 22, before becoming a household name in British comedy for TV work, including Vic Reeves' Big Night Out and Shooting Stars, and Vic Reeves' Turner Prize Moments, and The Smell of Reeves and Mortimer and Coronation Street and House of Fools. You
Yeah.
were an artist, and art has always been your first love, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that it was for me. It was always birds and art. When I was a kid, thinking back to when I was a youngster, it would be me in my bedroom, going out in the day, looking at birds, and then coming up and painting in my bedroom. Because there wasn't anything else to do really then. I mean, I think I'm lucky, probably like you, in coming from an era where there wasn't the temptation of anything on screens other than your telly. So you made your own entertainment, and for me, it was looking at birds and then coming home and painting in my bedroom and playing instruments.
Because that's the thing, when I think, I mean, before I got to know you, I didn't really know much about you. And your comedy series that you did, all the series that you did, came at a time when I wasn't watching too much TV. So even though I knew about you and Mr. Bob Mortimer, I didn't really, I thought you were funny and stuff, but that was about it really. And later on in life, when I discovered that you were A, an artist, and B, a birder, and B, and C, painted birds, it was a bit of of a surprise to me. And then when I actually looked at your art, an example of which is right here, I thought, wow, this guy can actually walk the walk and talk the talk.
Well,
Because when I Googled you, I've never Googled you till today, actually. When I Googled you, you're down as a English comedian. Now, what would you define yourself as?
well, I've never defined myself as a comedian because when I was at art school, I was kind of getting into not the sort of stuff that I'm doing now, not the bird paintings. It was more avant-garde, let's say. So I was an artist. I'd have myself down as an artist and a jack of all trades. But Yeah, when I started doing comedy, it was just me doing a performance art piece because, like you, I didn't watch any TV. So I didn't know what comedians did. So I did what I thought they did on a stage as a performance piece. And because it was so unlike any other comedians, it kind of took off. But it was just an art piece. So, an art and birds is art is my, my main subject, if you like. I've always been an artist, and that's never going to stop, and it's been with me forever. That's all I've ever really done. I was hijacked into doing TV. It wasn't something that was of any design. It just sort of kind of happened in a swerve.
Yeah, you told me once about how you were discovered. It was quite an interesting story when you were on stage somewhere.
Yeah, well, I did kind of runs of 6 weeks at the Albany Empire in Deptford, a theatre there, and it was very random. I'd write a new show every week, and it'd be everything would be different every week, and it kind of got out. And this was before people sent text messages and things like that. It was like word of mouth and telephone, landline messages. You got to come down and have a look at this bloke. And so I had big shows on with a lot of people involved and things like that. And then one day, Alan Yentob and Michael Grade were in the audience, and there were Michael Grade was from Channel 4, Alan Yentob was from BBC, and they're both vying for my attention. And both said, "Do you want to do a TV show?" So, and this happened very quickly. So I just sort of went, "Yeah, all right then." But that was a big middle part of my life, and now my life is getting up, looking at birds, coming back to my studio and painting them.
So have you made a conscious decision to kind of almost ditch TV for
Do you
that?
know, I never really liked show business. It's a dirty business.
There's no business like show business.
There's no business like show business, and I want no part of it. Actually, no, I do like, it's all right. You're a pop star. I was a pop star for a bit, and that was quite good fun. But I think your life should be, um, when you've achieved something, move on and do something else, or just really do what you like doing. And I do what I like doing, and that suits me.
Yeah, it's funny you said you were a pop star. You actually told me that earlier today, and I looked it up and I watched Born Free, the single you had on Top the Pops. And I must say, you looked every bit a rock star, throwing the mic stand around and stuff. The choreography of the two girls next to you was something to be said,
Yeah.
especially having a sandwich break in the middle of their routine,
Oh,
which I thought was funny.
right, yeah, because I said, well, I went on top. That was the first single, which got to number 3. And the second one was Dizzy, that got to number 1. And then another, I'm a Believer, was number 3 as well. But that was my first time on Top of the Pops. And I, I've never been one for really like, doing what I'm told to do. So they said, right, will you come on and we'll choreograph it all for you and all that. And I said, no, no, I'll deal with all that. So I said to the girls, I'm going to give you a sandwich halfway through. So it's like, a half-time break for you to have a sandwich. I said, but also I want a big board, one of those meeting room boards with pictures of birds on, which I painted. Some I painted and some I just photographs, and I just pointed them out as we went through. Which had, and there was, like the director go, "Oh, what's this got to do with the song?" This is not just, and it was really just like let him do what he wants to do. Just let him get on with it.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, if you're watching this, by the way, you must go on YouTube and check out that particular video, Born Free.
On
Uh,
top of the pops, 1990 or 91, one of those.
yeah, because that was, if I'd have watched that, I'd have realized you were a bird of them because I noticed the species you illustrated were very accurate. I mean, I think you had a wren there, and I think the cameraman. I was thinking to myself, cameraman, get close in. I want to see what birds are because it was a big wide until the very last bird, I think, or one of the last birds when you pointed out a tawny owl, I think it was. Uh,
Yes.
and then the next one was another bird, and you were kind of making gestures towards it, and then they just pulled away from that. But I thought it was pretty genius.
Yeah, it was. I was thinking when I told you about this, I was thinking about this, and another thing I did was on. I think it was on the Jules Holland's Hoot Nanny, which we've been to ever since the start, and I've been on it a few times. And once I did Born Free on that years and years ago, and I said I'll do it, but I want to do it from inside a barrel, like, and I was actually inside the barrel with pictures of birds on the outside. And I don't know why. I just thought it'd be so. It is birds and art, birds and very avant-garde art in that respect. Because I was inside the barrel, and I didn't reveal myself until about halfway through the song when I put my head out the top of it.
You are, I mean, I guess, especially given the success of your recent couple of TV series, Painting Birds with Jim and Nancy, you are or have become more recognized as a birder in Britain, at least anyway. What's it like when you go birding now? Because for example, I noticed on Nancy's Instagram especially, but yours as well, you've been to Elmley RSPB Reserve, for example, the other day. Do you get swamped by people? What are people's reactions like?
Well, it's really nice. People, because I'm. It's a weird area to be in because I'm now a face. And so people are really nice and they say I like your. They're always very cool birders. They're not sort of you don't get they're not like pop fans or anything like that. It's like, oh, I like your paintings, and it's pretty much that. Yeah, yeah.
It's funny, Jim. If I can interrupt you, there's a friend of mine on now on this call, Alan, and he and I were at Brent Reservoir in London back in the 80s, and we were birding, and we bumped into the venerable Bill Oddie. And my friend Alan went up to him and said, "Do I know you from somewhere?" And Bill Oddie's like, you can see him going, oh, he's going to mention the goodies or something. He goes, "Yeah, I saw you on a Twitch somewhere, didn't I?" And I thought it was great, but he did it that way instead of being obvious and saying, 'cause you must get a lot of references to Vic Reeves all the time.
Well, not with birders. No, I just get. I like your paintings. I mean, I go. Like a birder will go up to another birder and say anything, and they go, I've seen this over there, and that, blah blah blah. And then as I'm leaving, oh, I like your paintings, by the way, and that's usually it, and that's the way I like it.
So basically, they kind of talk to you as if they don't recognize you. I just
Well,
say
I
it's
guess
about seeing
rather
you.
that anyway, because I don't like to be. I just want to be, you know, one of the people, you
Yeah.
know. And there are a lot of people who know a lot more than me out there, and I just want to be, one of the people who's asking the questions. I was at Orr Marshes, a great time of the day. Now, I think at this time of year, you get there at about 3 o'clock, and the sun's going down, and things are starting to happen. And I got really excited because I thought I saw a short-eared owl quite a long way off. So I had my binoculars, and then I ran back to the car to get my scope and turned and went back, and I was just thinking I'm going to tell everyone that there's a shorty over there, but it wasn't. It was a marsh harrier just fluffing itself up for the evening. It was just all puffed up and that,
Yeah.
but his head down, so it really looked like a short-eared owl. But
Yeah.
so I was looking forward to saying to other people, "There's a shorty over there. I just spotted it."
Well, just for those that don't know, All Marshes is a really wonderful reserve in Kent.
Yeah.
Um, I understand that you have a.
Uh, 8 spoonbills there, all sort of kipping for the night. But it's great to see them there, and they're like residents there now. You get spoonbills there that are there all the time, all year round, and loads of other stuff. There was what else was there? A lot of godwits, curlews, redshanks, loads of fowl, well, waterfowl, tufted ducks, teal. Anyway, yeah, I was looking for scorp. Is it scorp or scaup?
Scorp.
It's,
Scorp. Yeah, Scorp. Yes, that's interesting because it's like Scoter, Scooter, Scorp, Scope, and there's another one that people often pronounce Pochard and Pochard.
yeah. What do you say? I say potchard.
I'd say Pochard. Yeah, I got a bit sort of more middle class and
Pochard.
older age. Yeah, Pochard.
Potchard, is it? I'd say potchard because I'm common.
I understand that you got an apprentice working, well, not working, you're teaching an apprentice a bit of birding. Her name is Nancy.
Here she is here.
Hello.
And I think, watching Nancy on painting birds, she's come on leaps and bounds. Do you not
Was it
think so, Nancy?
artist? Yes, here she is.
For those who don't know, this is Jim's wonderful wife, Nancy. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, yeah. Were you
Hello.
just miming then, were you?
No, I was speaking. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. Yeah, I absolutely love doing the show. It's the best thing I've ever done. And also to get to do it with my hubby,
It is a
it's
great
even
thing
better.
to do.
And I have learned so much. It's insane.
I mean,
Just
can I just say that the two of you together, on screen, you can tell that you have this amazing chemistry, but you kind of think to yourself, yeah, but maybe it's just for TV. But I know I can actually say this on record that I've been with them privately, hanging out, having bags of chips on the beach and going to the pub. You're exactly the same. In fact, if anything, more
Yeah,
outside of cameras.
we did have a good time, didn't
yeah,
we,
we've been
David?
out and about. We went and saw the Chuffs,
That's
um,
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we did.
the Chuff
We did.
release project at
Yeah, it
Dover Castle, which is great.
was amazing.
That was after our night on the beach with chips and wine.
Yeah, we all did. That was really. I got up close and personal with the chuff, didn't I? Like,
Oh, you did? Yeah,
yeah.
you were allowed in. Yeah.
I was really chuffed. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
What has been your collective best birdie moment in the last year?
My best bird moment had to be on the show when it was of that time of the season when you do the ringing of the birds, and it was the kingfisher, and they'd just done the ringing of the kingfisher, and I got to set it off, and it was the most amazing experience, and I got very emotional.
You did.
Yeah, I did. It
What
was
was it like in your hands?
Oh, it was so beautiful. And they actually said it will literally sit in your hand for like a second. And it did. And I just was so cute. I just wanted to I wanted to give it a little kiss, but no, that's wrong. It was just amazing. It was the best
You were
experience.
really moved
I was
then
so,
at that
yeah, I
moment.
got very, very
Yeah.
emotional.
I
Yeah.
got a little bit emotional when I was holding the black cap shortly
Yeah,
afterwards.
yeah. We
What's
did.
that, Jim?
Well, after Nancy had handled the kingfisher, I then handled a black cap,
Yeah.
which it had been ringed or rung,
Yeah, do the ringing
and
of the bird.
so I set that free as well.
A lovely bird, the black cap.
Blackcaps.
What a
I love them.
beautiful
Yeah,
bird with a little
great song.
so lovely. Yeah, but the whole show, I mean, obviously when Jim and I go out, say wherever Dungeness, you were saying about Elmley, each time we go, you're just always going to see something different. And I love it. And, I've always got my top five, but spoonbills is they're definitely
You
getting
love
up.
the spoonbill.
Curlew is always number one, but the spoonbill boom is getting up there.
What is
It
in
was
your top five now?
Well, it changes though. So number one's always the curlew. I love cormorants as well. I think they're really beautiful.
What do
Um,
they look like?
I think they remind me a bit of Dracula. Like really owning it. That. And
Dracula owning it.
well, yeah, you know what I mean. Like they're just really. I don't think they're talked about enough, cormorants, because they just own it, don't they? They're out there and they look fantastic. So yeah, they're definitely in the top five. Kingfisher, I love. Oh God,
What's your favourite? A cormorant or a shag? I'm not doing any innuendos with it, but I
Oh,
actually like shags. I think are prettier than
You know what?
cormorants.
There was a time when I was talking to a bunch of kids once, and I was trying to explain the difference between cormorants and shags. And I actually said, does anyone know the difference? And these were 14-year-old kids. and a girl piped up and said, "Yeah, shags are more fun."
Oh,
Oh, don't know what
I ain't going to respond to that.
don't know what to say. But
But
also not forgetting all the owls. I love the tawny owl, the short-eared owl, the little owl, the barn owl. Boom, all of them. I've
So,
just gone.
I mean, obviously, you two been together for some time, but have you, Nancy, have you been uh, a birder or been interested in birds in the beginning? How did that all happen?
No, just I knew the birds in the garden, but when I met Jim, one of our first, I think the first outing we went on was bird watching, and I was like,
No, like
what
a date. Was it a date?
was it? I think it. Well, it may have
well, no,
been.
it was a
It
walk,
was just a
but
walk,
I
but
point things out
Jim would point
probably.
things out, and I thought, oh, this is what's going on here.
Did Jim hold it back from you, or did Jim tell you initially that he was a bird, or did he just take you on a walk and start pointing things out without thinking?
Yeah, we just went for a walk and then that was it. Hey presto, he's telling me all these lovely birds that I had no idea about. Didn't know about a tree creeper until there it was creeping up a tree. But yeah, I loved it and I've never looked back really. We're always
Do you know they only creep one way
up, well, upwards.
and then down? Yeah, but no, they'll go down and then go up again.
I love that. Who doesn't love a tree creeper, eh?
What? So what bird goes up and down then, David?
Well, it's nuthatch.
Nuthatch, yeah.
No,
There you
I
are.
can't.
See?
I was uncertain. I thought you might be a little joke there or something.
No, there wasn't a joke. I was just going to say that tree creepers go up and then flat and then go back up again. I saw a tree creeper last year, uh, and right next to it was a goldcrest. And I really like seeing two birds for the price of one. You know,
Two birds with one
I
stone.
really like that. And we were on the cliffs at Dover the other day, and there was a stone chat and a linnet and a wheatear
Mm.
in the same bush.
There's a lot of kestrels.
We saw, I think, about 14
Yeah.
kestrels, like a squadron of kestrels, which I
Oh,
thought was fantastic.
aren't they beautiful kestrels? We get so many here in Kent. We see them all the
They're
time.
doing well, kestrels, aren't they? Which is great.
You're lucky because they're declining as a species across the UK.
Well, they are, as is most, almost everything, isn't it? But they seem to be doing all right round our way.
So
Yeah.
that's great when we see so many of them, and it makes you feel lovely when you see so many at the White Cliffs.
Yeah. So Jim, is there a particular species you like or family you like painting?
Um, there are birds that you can paint that are easier to paint. Uh, so it depends on my mood. Behind you is a night heron.
Oh,
Right. So yeah,
You got it. You got
behind
it.
you
It looks
there.
very good.
like the frame.
That,
Yeah.
Chose it myself.
you are pointing it in the right direction. Yeah. That night heron, I got up at about 4:30, and I think in September, and it was at Orr Marshes, and it was it's great to be up at that time, when the sun's coming up, and it was just a fleeting 30 seconds of a night heron shadow go, across. There was about three or four of us there.
That's the time you
Wait.
wake up, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's great to get up and see the sunrise. Now, anyway, but to paint a bird like a night heron, if it's smooth and got less distinctive mottling, it's easier to paint. Not saying that that is more fun to paint. I think I don't know what is good to paint. I always start with an eye, and I always think the eye is the most important thing, and especially to get the reflection right.
Yeah.
And
Do you remember when you did the Peregrine and then you had the reflection of Battersea Power Station in the
yeah,
eye?
I did.
That was amazing.
Actually, is my bird book around?
Yeah, because I was going to talk to you about it. But so your process is basically to start with the eye and then sort of from the head onwards.
Oh, well, I'll do the whole. I'll sketch out the whole of the bird, and then. But usually the first when I'm painting the what you don't want to do, what you want to do is really finish with the darker colours at the end,
I
because
get it.
if you're doing watercolours, it's got to be dark at the end. So you kind of do some planning out. It's a bit of science and things, but I like to do the eye first, so I get the eye of the bird in, but I will do the final thing will be the center of the eye. So I'll do the eye and the beak, and I will be perfectly honest. The most fun part of a bird to paint is its beak, and because I just love getting the reflection and the the light and shade on a beak because it's the only shiny part of it, really, I suppose.
Yeah. Are you? I mean, they always say that people are born, everyone's born able to sing, everyone's born able to be an artist in some way. What was it like for you? Were you born, and you were kind of drawing and stuff all the time, or was it something you actually just chose to do and study at university? Or how did it all come to be?
It's because of my mum mainly. My mum was an artist, and she would she'd yeah, we go to art galleries. We'd go out and there weren't particularly birders. There were we were going to find the picture of the. I'm going to find the picture of the going back to what we were talking about before the
Is this your
parrot.
latest book?
This is my new book,
More
More Birds.
birds.
Available from all good booksellers.
It's available everywhere. Yes,
It's
I
in the
think.
shops now.
I don't know if you can see that there. If I got close, can you see that? That's the peregrine, but it's got the Battersea Power Station reflected in its eye. So
Yeah,
if
yeah,
I go,
yeah, that's it. Yeah, beautiful.
you got that?
Yeah.
So when you pull back, just looks like a reflection. But when you get in close, you can see that it's got Battersea Power Station in there.
Isn't it beautiful?
So what
So
birds are featured in that book, your latest book? Because you had one previously, didn't you?
you got a copy, haven't you?
I have, yeah, not here unfortunately, but I have got a copy. Signed by
Um,
its good selves. Like Kentish plover.
yeah,
Beautiful.
many of them around now.
So lovely.
Certainly not in Kent, despite its name.
So what do you actually see these birds first and then paint them? What's your, how do you kind of source your material?
Long-eared owl, which we went to see at Elmley last week, didn't see it, but we have seen it before. Yeah, I like the idea of being in the birder crowd, but without me long lens, I go home and paint them. So I'm not going back and putting photographs on Instagram. I'm going back painting them and then putting them on Instagram. So I'm a kind of Victorian birder.
But you were saying about your mum and the fact you went to
Okay.
museums.
She was neither my mum or my dad were birders, but my dad did give me my first pair of binoculars, which in the Second World War he was on an aircraft carrier, and he brought back with him a pair of binoculars which were used for looking for submarines in the North Atlantic, and
Wow.
they were the heaviest binoculars ever. They were giants. They were huge, great big things. So I'd be out looking at birds and like developing huge muscles trying to hold these giant binoculars up. But that's all we had. So
But your mum is a brilliant
and my
artist.
mum is an artist.
She's a
so
brilliant artist.
We'd go and paint, and I was just brought up painting. It's kind of not a bohemian lifestyle, but it was one that was filled with art and the outdoors.
And music.
Not
So,
as mum and dad
Oh,
go.
no,
It was
but for
really
you.
more me. But
so you were brought up in the northern part of England, yeah?
yeah, well, I was born in Leeds. My dad worked at the Yorkshire Post, and so then he moved to the Northern Echo, which is in Darlington. So we moved to Darlington, which is great because you got all the uplands there. You got lots of moorland, and I was where I lived on the edge of the town. There was hundreds, if not thousands, of lapwings
Lovely.
all facing the same direction, and that's one of the earliest memories I have of birds is, hundreds and hundreds of lapwings all just like in a field, all facing into the wind.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
During your sort of TV heyday, I mean, obviously you're still having that now, really, I suppose, but during the sort of comedy days, what did some of your celebrity friends and other people think of your art and the fact that you were painting birds and in fact, the fact you were a birder?
Um, I didn't really announce it. Didn't go around saying I'm a bird. I mean, I did. I just sort of like I
You
just
should have
do
had
that
a
in
top on.
private.
Should have had a top on with I'm a birder.
But I do remember what I used to. One of my party pieces, if you like, would be to get the I don't know Collins Book of Birds and say, "Show me a bird, cover the name up, and I'll tell you what it is." Which
Nice.
lasted for about 5 seconds usually. With people go, "All right, let's move on and let's get grooving." But
'Cause I
that
guess
was
people didn't believe that you were a birder, did they? They must have thought, because back in those days, people thought birding and birders were boring, you know, bellied, bearded, boring men that had no sort of communication skills.
well, like us.
I can't say the word eccentricity. Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I don't know. I think that's that kind of that sort of stereotype of a birder is probably still there, isn't it? It's an anorak character with, I mean, we did our painting birds show, and I was out thinking I'm not going to wear the same gear as everyone else. I'm going to go out looking like I'm, Ernest Shackleton. you know, I'm, go- I'm, I'd go out with a tweed suit on,
Yeah.
which is what people used to do.
We did wear quite a bit of tweed, but I
You
wore
know,
all sorts, dresses, you name it.
yeah.
Birds don't mind what I wear. They actually flock
That
towards
us
me.
and you, David, the people who are bringing Burda into mainstream high fashion.
You know what? It's great though, because
Oh, you got the rock and roll Burda. He's cool, isn't he?
exactly, yeah, a nice beard and that. But I mean, I think that's what's needed. You need to break off and break away from the Green Welly big,
But
green
great.
Welly lot.
You are living, aren't you?
Yeah, I've got problems today. The
You
Green
said Billy
Welly.
Connolly. I always say Billy Colony. There are words. But, yeah, so the Welly Boot Brigade.
Yeah, yeah, big brigade. Yeah, I think because again, that show really was one of the great things about it was that it showed birding in a different light. Anyone can do it. You don't need to wear green. You can just go out,
Yeah,
have a cup of tea in your hands and have a laugh. And it's about having a laugh with friends as well, isn't it?
yeah. No backpack, just a pair of binoculars, something that will deflect weather. And tweed is very good for that. Do you know, I did a program about tweed years ago, and if you look at a bit of tweed, there's so many different colors in. If you've got a brown tweed jacket, it's probably got about 27 different colors woven together in it,
Mm.
and it'll keep the wind out and the rain out, and that's what it was made for. You don't, you can get, your great all-weather gear, which I have got,
Yeah.
but
We've got the thermals.
I'm quite happy going out in a tweed jacket and,
Yeah.
and looking like I'm birding in 1927.
Yeah, it's a good look, when we both had our tweed on.
I agree. When I was 18, myself and my friend Alan, we used to go around birding wearing trench coats and Dr. Martens and trilby
Yeah,
hats.
That's
And
great.
we had pseudonyms. My mate called himself Cornelius Ravenwing III, and I, trying to outdo him, called myself what did I call myself? Thelonious Monk, not realizing that he was a jazz artist. I just heard that name somewhere. And we would go to bird hides and say ostrich flying south, Cornelius Ravenwing the
I love that.
what, and you just went with Thorny. Theo-
Thelonious Monk.
My dad was a massive fan of Theodonius Monk, and I am as well. I think he's great. But yeah, that's not
How do you
that.
pronounce his name? Thelonious.
What?
How do you pronounce his name?
Theolonius.
Oh, so I've
Theolonius.
been pronouncing it Thelonious Monk all my life. So maybe
I think you could probably get away with Thelonious Monk.
you sure?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're all right.
Yeah, he's Theolonius Monk, but Thelonious. He might have called himself Thelonious. So you just went out as Thelonious Monk.
Yeah, I
I
was
love
following this
that.
monk.
No reference to birds, just jazz.
Exactly.
Well, I'm going to go out and start writing Sun Ra on hides around
What are you going to call me? Oh, I don't know if I should ask
Charlie
that.
Parker.
Yay, Charlie Parker. I love that.
Charlie Parker.
Yeah, thank you.
Cleo Lane.
Yeah, Cleo Lane. Ooh, let's do the impression. Oh, maybe not.
What do you think about twitching? Does twitching excite you? Because the other day there was, in fact, I think it's still there now. There's a scarlet tanager in someone's garden up in Yorkshire somewhere.
I saw that. I showed Jim that.
Yeah.
A ton
Isn't
of
that
people
great
sat
when
outside.
in someone's front garden? I mean, imagine if you lived there and there it is. I
I've
mean,
been to I've been to places where you get a lot of twitchers outside someone's
yeah.
garden, and they've put signs out saying, "Do you mind not hanging around outside my house?" I can understand,
Yeah.
but that's in up near Barnsley
I saw
somewhere, isn't
that,
it?
David, and what a stunning bird that bird
But it's
is.
not right. It's not. It shouldn't be here. So
No, I know, but it's still beautiful.
I don't know. I've got a kind of strange thing about, uh, I don't know. I mean, was it blown off course, or did it come out of someone's Finch aviary?
Well, probably, of course.
Yeah.
But
Long in America, isn't it?
yeah, but I'm getting the feeling that Nancy would rush and go and see it, whereas you would be at home making the tea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was. I remember there was Eleonora's falcon around, and there was a huge bank of twitchers, all lined up with the cameras and everything. And I just thought, I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
And there was one bloke, and he was looking at a red-footed falcon, and which was nearby, really near. So I thought, I'm just going to hang about with him. So I went with the lesser crowd because I don't know. There's something. It's a psychological, mental thing. I don't know. It's just keep away from crowds and don't do what everyone expects, and go with. If there's a red-footed falcon, I'm just as pleased. So I'm going to go and see that. It wasn't about making a big tick for me. It was more about having the experience.
I follow a few bird pages, and there was a hoopoe as well in someone's front garden not long ago, which is really great.
Yeah.
Again, everybody there, but I get to see all these amazing photos that people put on. So
Yeah.
that's great, isn't it? We saw a hoopoe in Lanzarote, didn't we?
Yeah.
Just
That's the only one I've ever seen.
It's quite chilled.
Yeah.
Although, being, twitching is now kind of academic, isn't it? It's like you get the app, you get bird guides, and it tells you where. So there's no phone calls now going. There's something really rare and everyone dashes. I don't dash around to see things, but I will use bird guides and go, and if there's something exciting, I'll go and see it.
Yeah.
But I'm more about I think I'm more about the, I'm just as happy to see a curlew or a whimbrel.
Well, we're hoping the waxwings are going to come back to all the local supermarkets.
Last year, the waxwings always come to
the Rowan
because they love a supermarket, don't they?
Which ones do they prefer? Tesco, Sainsbury's?
Well, anyone. I don't think they might.
It was.
We had to travel a bit. Not that.
No,
far.
it wasn't that far. It was in Baidstone. So what was it? What was the supermarket?
Was it a Lidl? No.
No, it wasn't.
Oh,
They're a bit posher than Lidl.
But I can't remember. But isn't it amazing though? They say go to a supermarket, or because all the rowanberry they're all there. All the rowanberry trees are all around the supermarket. So
I'm trying to start a campaign, and I think actually, funny enough, Jim and I had the same thought separately to get the waxwing to be the Christmas pin-up. Let's ditch the robin and go for the waxwing.
We did that on our Christmas. Our Painting Birds with Jim and Nancy Moir Christmas special last year was the waxwing
in Finland,
and because I said it should be the Christmas bird because they're really kind, gregarious and kind birds. They'll share berries. Robins are quite the opposite.
Exactly, and plus waxwings get drunk together as well, don't they?
Really?
They do everything that humans do at Christmas. They give gifts. They get drunk. And
they have a good time.
They have nice hats on.
But robins, they're so cute, but they're so
I love robins. They sing,
they are
they're
lovely.
beautiful birds and they sing and it's all great, but
They're
they are
angry, aren't they?
they're little gangsters.
Yeah.
I think
Um,
that's why I like them because they're little gangsters.
they're Britain's national bird, and I think they really do suit Britain because they're small, territorial, and pick fights. So yeah, sounds like Britain.
And
Um,
we've got hawfinches around at the moment. Now I went to see some hawfinches, which are another great bird of around where we are in Kent that they kind of turn up at this time of the year. And I went and painted.
yeah, that painting you're going to show now is my favorite. I love this painting so much. Look at that; it's so beautiful.
That's
Love
Let
that.
my camera out and I
that's a
shall.
little
Okay, here we go.
What's the collective noun for? Oh, actually, I can't do that. What's the collective noun for orphans? I wonder.
there isn't one. I looked, um, and well, that's a they are great birds, and they're really like friendly, gregarious birds, but they've got quite a ferocious, fierce look about them, haven't they?
They have, yeah.
That
I
kind
was
of
saying that beak looks really hard.
oh, that
Well,
that
they can crush cherry stones, don't you, Nancy? I mean, they're just absolutely incredible in terms of that.
you think
That's
of
what I
what's the
noticed.
collective name for hawfinches? A
I've no idea. Crush of hawfinches, someone said. I like that. Yeah.
crush. Yeah,
A crush, yeah, that's good.
yeah.
What is it you said, Jim?
No, no, forget that.
And before we look at some of your art, before we look at some other stuff, I want to quickly ask you, do you, I kind of associate you birding and being in the UK, but do you actually do anything abroad? Do you go birding abroad?
No, we go on holiday, and when we were on holiday in Provence this year,
Oh,
we'd sit on the our little terrace, and every evening a roller would turn up and sit in a tree just nearby.
Wow.
Um,
unbelievable. Couldn't believe it. Every day, same time. Amazing.
that was great, but I don't we don't go. No, we just if we're abroad, we'll have a look
But of
around.
course, David, one day we're going to come to Spain, you know?
Yeah, you have to come to Spain because it's absolutely one of
Here's
those places.
look at that. Look, there's some puffins which
Nice.
we saw on Rathlin Island. That was a great experience. We were filming there, and have you got that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've got
got that.
it as well.
That was
Boom, close
some
up.
puffins on Rath. Have you been to Rathlin Island?
I've never been, to be honest.
Yeah, that was great.
Sorry, can I just say, favourite bird, curlew.
Hmm.
Why so, Nancy? Why do you
Well,
like ladies so much?
I think it might have been when I went out with Jim that first time that I saw one. And I just love them. I think they're beautiful. They've got a lovely sound. And they always just, I don't know, I have seen a flock of them, but I've also seen them a lot on their own.
waxwing.
Absolutely beautiful.
There it is.
Christmas bird.
The Christmas waxwing.
Christmas pin up, definitely.
People agree out there, like that,
What was
watching
your favourite? Curlew.
about the waxwing.
Curlew. There it is.
Jim, do the curlew sound. See, how could you not love
Something
that?
like that.
I didn't hear that. Try it again.
Do it again, do it again.
I don't know why I'm cupping my hands. Sounds looks because it makes me look like a professional bird whistle. You know what? I love curlews because that sound
Yeah, I love the sound.
reminds me of my youth, and used to
Fair
hear
enough.
it flying over. And do you know the story about the seven whistlers?
Tell us.
Uh, seven whistlers, which would be the sound of, amongst other things, mainly curlews. So if you're curlews flying over at night whistling, that would be a portent for doom. There would be a shipwreck or a mining tragedy.
Hang
So,
on, ready? Fact.
fact. Yeah, look, as a
Kingfisher.
kingfisher. What do you make of king? Do you like kingfishers?
Me, I love them, but I see them a lot on photographs. I'm one of the most photographed birds in Britain, I'd say. But
Well,
Well,
interesting because I've seen that kingfisher, that species of kingfisher in Thailand, for example, whizzing past, and it reminds me of home straight away. You know, you're middle of a foreign country, you know, different climate altogether, different birds, and then you see a common kingfisher. So they've got quite a wide distribution. Ah, gannet.
yeah,
damn it.
they are. Yeah, we've got a
The
kingfisher.
gannets are always in pairs, aren't they? Is that right?
Oh, they're pair for light. Yeah,
But
they
isn't
yeah,
that
and they
lovely? Because when we went to see them, they're always
and they give
together.
each other gifts. They'll make necklaces for each other,
They
and
made some twigs for each other, which you did for me, didn't you? You
yeah,
got me some twigs.
And did
yeah,
he give it to you like a gannet did?
Yeah,
yeah.
you did.
Very nice.
No, I think that's really nice that they actually, make necklaces and.
I
Yeah.
like that about birds when they're together like that forever.
But anyway, yeah, we've got a kingfisher near us, and also near us, which was a bit of a surprise about this time last year, was an osprey, just
Yeah,
about a mile away
at
down the
Hoffield,
road.
yeah.
That's nice.
Was it juvenile?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in the I wouldn't call it rehearsals, but prior to pressing the record button, we did try a little trick to see if we can use another camera to look at Jim's work
Yeah,
as he
All
does
right,
it.
yeah. So we do some.
However, I don't think I can do it. I'm having problems actually doing it. My technology is kind of sweating me. So maybe if you just show us
Well,
like
I've done
that.
this. We
is it
might be
not
able to do
working?
it.
Let's have a look.
I'm gonna. Well, I was going to give a demonstration on how to. I painted this wren yesterday, and here's a thing. I want to put the
Branch.
branch on there, and there's a way of doing it. So I can only do it if it's.
Can you not see this on that other camera if I do that?
Let's try again because I had a bit of drama doing that.
I've
Let's
got
see if
the.
we can.
I got it now, I think. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Right. What I'm going to do is I've got a bit of sepia. This is watercolor, and this is a technique that I use, and I really like doing this because it's kind of when you've done the bird, you get to do the tree, the branch, which I really like doing. So I've got a bit of um, hooker's green.
Can people see this, David? Can they?
I think they can. I'm just making sure that when the recording comes out, everyone else can.
Dan
And a
said
bit
I
of
can.
moss
Brilliant.
green.
And
So
Fran, are you watching this in speaker view? If you just write down yes or no, gallery view. Yeah, I need speaker view. But anyway,
Right.
sorry, carry on.
so anyway, I've got the paint. I'm holding it. I have to do it
No, it's all
flat
right. I'm
because
doing it like
it
this.
won't work. And I'm using these now. I always use a Chinese brush. These are basically Chinese brushes which you use for using, for Chinese ink usually.
Yeah.
But I like them because you can soak up a lot of water
Can
in
do it.
that,
Show it to this camera. That's
and
it. Boom.
that's that, a Chinese brush and a traditional um, uh, watercolor brush. So I've got what have I got in there? Burnt umber, sap green, and hooker's green.
Hey,
So I'm just,
On
and
Nancy's phone now, so I can see you now. Go on.
this is really quick. So I'll get a bit of brown, and this happens really quite quickly. So I'm going to do the branch. So I get the roughly where it's going to be.
did you use salt on that?
I will be doing. I ain't got there yet.
No, I meant on this bird here, on the bird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see.
So I'm putting this on really wet, and you can see where the lines are.
Don't
I
be
mean,
shy.
even that looks great to me. If
No,
you stop there, even.
Now so you got that's the branch.
Jim, what is it we say? Don't be shy, just go for it.
Just go for it. Yeah.
Go for
Now,
it.
what I'm going to do now, see that's what I'm going to do now is sprinkle some salt on there.
Do it.
When you get salt on it, you might be able to see the effect.
Wow.
That'll,
Oh, wow, look
but
at that.
when it's dry, it'll all become more apparent. But that is what the salt is. Does it soaks it in, so it'll bring all the colours in. So when you're doing a for instance, a branch like this, it's I don't know what to say. It's going to make it more branch-like.
Yeah.
And now, what I'll show you now is Payne's Grey. I really love using Payne's Grey, which is probably the darkest blue. It's almost black. And this is all watercolors have a different property, and Payne's Grey will spread really quickly. And so I'm going to show you. So the underneath of the branch is going to be shaded dark. So get a bit of Payne's Grey, but you'll see how this Payne's Grey moves through the other colours. If I
Yeah.
just put it on, it'll.
But going back to the salt just stays there. You don't you leave the salt in the actual finished piece.
No, when it's all dry, you rub it off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't dip your chip in it.
But you can, you can have your dinner at the same time as painting.
You're going to put any ketchup on it?
So you've got this darker area at the bottom. Now, what I'm going to do now is, because this branch has got a bit of moss on it, I want to put some yellow, got some yellow there, and I wanted to have a bit of red, but I haven't. So, yes, I have.
It
Got
looks
some
amazing.
red.
And it doesn't take long, does it, when you've done that?
Well, this is the easy. That's what I'm saying. Once you've done the bird, you can do the branch, and it's kind of quick and easy, and it's quite good fun.
You hear that, David? It's easy. You're going to go and do this.
What I'm doing now is I'm putting a bit of lichen on.
Yeah.
So some yellow there. This will bleed in quite well, and then you get this red lichen. So leave it like that, and then a bit more salt. I mean, it's all a bit of kind of suck it and see with these things. You don't really know how it's going to end up, but you've got a good idea. So then, when that dries,
it's like a lizard. Sorry,
it is a bit, isn't it? Yeah. So when that dries, I'll rub off the salt. And
that looks amazing.
Actually, do you know what I'm going to do? Give it a bit more branch down there.
Do it.
So where's that Payne's Grey?
Singing a lovely song there.
You can see a lot of wrens at the moment, can't you? Because of the leaves all disappearing.
And what a great sound they've got as well, wrens, haven't they? When you hear it, go out.
And there, yeah, that's got a bit more composition to it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Put a bit of lichen in there, and there we are. So that's wet.
That looks good.
But,
how long will it take to dry? Oh, it'll take a while, will it?
Yeah. It's sometimes you want things to dry quick. Sometimes you want them to dry slow. In this heat, it's about 20 degrees now. It'll probably take an hour, but I'd leave it for 24 hours before I rub the salt off.
Right.
When the salt comes, you can either leave the salt on or take it off, but the salt draws in the paint and gives it a really good texture, I always find. And then it can also, I don't know if you can see in there, Nancy.
Yeah.
That's the effect of salt, which has dispersed it.
Oh, that looks great, doesn't it?
It sent the colours outwards. So there's lots of different things. There's lots of actually the best salt to use is really cheap table salt.
Right.
Don't go posh on it.
Isn't the video gone off?
Anyway, there we are. Look, that's it. So I can't hold it up, but you can
I can see it.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Da, da, da.
So that's it.
That's
That
it. That's
that's my wren on a branch in the garden.
Du, 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 du.
I sound like a chef
Yeah,
then,
no,
didn't
you
I?
did. I
And
was just
then-
tune. It was, when they go and that's chicken da, da, da,
and that is my wren on a branch
on a bed of a
in the
branch.
kitchen. In the kitchen, in the garden.
I love that. Du, du, du. I did the tune. I love it. Look at that. That looks amazing, doesn't it? All those colours.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So
Yeah.
I think I've managed to, I mean, the technology is not working for me today, but I'm hoping that I could have done a good job here.
We all
Um,
done a great job.
so, okay, I think we've come to the time of the evening where I need to ask you some important questions.
Yeah.
Um, the first of which is,
Well, I was
yeah,
just painting over there, out of the way.
yeah,
There we go. Done. Yeah.
this question is for you, Jim. What is your favorite bird?
Uh, well, it varies all the time, but thinking about it, I think I'm going to have to say a lapwing because it reminds me of my youth, and I could sit and watch lapwings endlessly, watching the balletic sky dancers. I really like the look of it. I think they look great, but mostly I like the way they act. They're kind of tough guys, but you know what they are? Tough ballerinas. I think
Got good hair.
they just and they look amazing. They look
Mm.
amazing in flight.
Yeah, absolutely. I used to call them spoon wings when I was a kid because I thought their wings were hollowed out at the tips.
Really? Well, so you got a lapwing, green plover, peewit. Probably got hundreds of other names. There's a great book, actually, isn't it? All the Birds of the Sky, or something like that, which has got the names of different birds from around the country, which is a really good book. I don't think you can get it anymore.
Okay, well, I'll have to look out for that.
Birds of the
And
Owl.
final question, Jim. If you could be anywhere in the world, where would it be right now?
Right where I am now, because I know my territory and I know, from a birding point of view, I know where I'm going and I really like it. But uh, I've always got a fondness for the North Yorkshire moors
Mm.
and where I first started looking at birds and but I think I am a home bird. I like being at home. I can't think of anywhere bird wise there's lots of places I'd like to go. I want to go to Norway and places like that. But
Yeah.
would you like to be?
You know what? I like being in Spain at the moment, to be honest. Um,
Got a lot of choice, haven't you?
yeah, it's Extremadura is where I am, and I like it. Even though I'm in Hove at the moment, I like that part of the world, without a doubt.
Yeah, I'm going to have to stick with home because I know where I am and I know I like to know what I'm doing and what things are. I like looking out my into my garden. I've seen sparrowhawks swooping low through the garden.
Saw a green woodpecker the other day.
Nancy saw
Mm.
woodpecker.
Yeah.
We've had great spotted green woodpeckers. Uh, yeah, I like it where I am.
Good
I
for
like
you.
it on the cliffs at Dover.
Yeah,
Down that.
good for you. All right, well, listen, this has been a really great, if not slightly haphazard, edition of In Conservation with my terrible editing, which may or may not be the case, and I apologize in advance if that is the case.
A star episode, David.
You've done
Um,
a job, David. It's been great.
well, thank you. I mean, it's been great having you guys. So that's the first thing I want to do. Thank you guys for sparing your time and gracing us with your presence.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for having us.
And thank Zoomers. Thank you, Zoomers, as well for being
Thank
here.
you. It's been
And
lovely,
thank
even though we haven't spoken.
Thank you.
And thank you to all the people watching in the future on YouTube. You might be watching this in the year 2525 and think, who are those characters? Well, you'll learn more after watching this, I'm sure. So
Can't
thank
wait.
you very much. And please, if you are watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe. Tell all your friends, even some of your enemies, about this, because there's so many different interviews on In Conservation covering so many different subjects, from art all the way through to whatever you want to think of in the natural world. And thank you also to the sponsors, Cower, Sporting Optics, and Birds, Wildlife and Nature. So until we all meet again, all I'll say to you now is keep looking up.
And down.
And I think Tara's put something on, hasn't she?